They are black and yellow. You hear them circling around outside. They may seem as pests, but they make one of the necessary things we need to live. It's the honeybee. The honeybee needs to not be tortured in daily honey-making activities. They need to be left alone to help prevent a starvation epidemic that could threaten our world. According to the honey industry, PETA.org, 2017 states that the honeybees are victims of unnatural living conditions, genetic manipulation, and stressful transportation. With these guys being one of the major sources of pollination, they need to be released from their white box prisons. Also, with our food at stake, this greatly needs to be looked into. To understand why honeybees are so important, first we need to look into what all a honeybee does and how the beekeepers are mistreating the bees. And then we can look into how we can slowly end the honey-making productions and its byproducts. But what is the daily life of a honeybee? Well, first off, when it's born, the honey industry, PETA.org, 2017, states that each honeybee's job is determined by its age, sex, and the time of year that it's born. A worker bee, which is a female bee, helps the queen bee lay its eggs and place its eggs into wax cells, which are the little circle things inside the honeycomb. And the drone bees, which are the male bees, they go out and collect nectar and help make honey, and they make the pollination happen. But what is pollination? Well, pollination is when an insect goes to a flower, collects nectar, and as they're collecting nectar, pollen falls onto their legs, and as they bounce from flower to flower, they conduct pollination. But why is pollination so important? Well, according to Pollinator Partnership 2017, somewhere between 75 and 95% of flowering plants need help with pollination. But how are the bees are treated in their white box prisons, and what's their daily life? Well, the white box prison is a big white box where the bees live and where they make honey for the beekeepers. And here is an image of one of the white prisons. And here is how they take out the boards, these big old boards, and honey is stored all through here. And as they collect that honey, they take each board, and scrape off honey. Well, what are they doing that's so bad? Well, according to the honey industry, PETA.org, 2017, these are the several things they do. Since swarming, which is the separation of the hive when a new queen is born, this lowers production of honey. And the beekeepers don't want that to happen. So what they do to prevent this is that they cut the wings off the queen bee, or they kill off a older queen bee and replace it with a new queen. And since commercial beekeepers trick the queens into laying more eggs by building bigger wax cells for them to fill. And another way we can slow the production of honey, we can just not eat honey at all. We can use other things, including peanut butter, jam, maple syrup, and if you're vegan, Vegetarian Times 2017 adds that there are other alternatives, including agave nectar, coconut nectar, and you can just make your own recipes with simple ingredients. If we stop using all these honey products, there won't be a huge demand for it. And Pollinator Protection 2017 states that colony collapse disorder is the phenomenon that occurs when the majority of the worker bees in the colony leave the queen bee. And what's causing it is pesticide poisoning, stress to the bees when they're transported, and also when the habitat is changed, where they forage, where they go out and get their honey. Also, poor nutrition. These bees are so stressed out, it creates this colony collapse disorder. And to understand why these honeybees are so important, First, we need to look into exactly what a honeybee does and how the beekeepers are mistreating the bees. And then we can look into what ways we can end the honey production and its byproducts. The honey industry, PETA.org, 2017, states that honeybees are victims of unnatural living conditions, genetic manipulation, and stressful transportation. But with these guys being one of the major sources in pollination, they need to be released from their white box prisons. And also, with our food at stake, this needs to greatly be looked into. The honeybee needs not to be tortured in daily honey-making activities. They need to be left alone to help prevent a starvation epidemic that could threaten our own world. Thank you.